This is from, it's reported from BBC. AP had it, but we're reading it from Zero Hedge. Obama says women are, quote, indisputably better than men and should lead every country. So speaking at an event this past Monday, former President Barack Obama said that if women ran every country, we would all live with significantly improved living standards and that there would be less war and strife. When it comes to leadership, women are, as he said, indisputably better than men, according to the BBC. Quote, now women, I just want you to know you're not perfect, but what I can say pretty indisputably is that you're better than men. Quote, I'm absolutely confident that for 2 years, every nation on earth was run by women. You would see a significant improvement across the board on just about everything, living standards and outcomes. We need to talk about this. Do you think that these statements are made off the cuff by chance? No. The man has a script. The man has teleprompters. This was a well thought out sentence that really has profound meaning. You see, there are two sides to this coin. One is for our near future. This displays that he's backing a woman for the 2020 election, and he's priming the pump for her. I think this could be code talk for Michelle Obama running for president. It really could. I mean, she truly might be waiting until the end. And then the super delegates could all choose her. And that would work out to her benefit because her opponents, that won't leave them any time to dig up real dirt on her. And it'll slide her into an easy nomination. But two, this also displays the direction of the modern feminist movement, which the Democrats have fashioned for Satan. And I want to make this point known, whether knowingly or unknowingly. Mm-hmm. And this article displays real feminism at its finest. The feminist movement is not about equal rights. It is about dominating men. It's not about equal rights. It's about dominating men. But why? Why? Because feminism destroys God's ordained gender roles. It is about destroying the God-ordained institution of the family by dismissing gender roles. To understand this, to understand what we're going to be talking about, you have to understand that the family unit, the family is a government within itself, a God-given sovereign bubble, a sovereign unit that the Lord has created. And this is what it's about. It's about destroying it. There are two different things in this to hash out some. One, first of all, the state wants in. Understand that, for example, after the Civil War, which was a wonderful thing because it destroyed slavery, but Abraham Lincoln himself was a Federalist. And you read quotes before, you could say that he was actually more in it, which ended up being a good thing because slavery was ended. I had to be so careful because it's so easy for people to label you as a racist because you say there was something bad that happened in the Civil War. It was a good thing. Mm-hmm. Slavery is a bad thing.
Right.
But Abraham Lincoln was a Federalist. He wanted more power to go to the federal government. And because of the Civil War, that is exactly what happened. The federal government became larger and larger. Big government. We don't like big government. We want small government. Yes. And here's what happened. It infringed on the rights of the states, either directly or indirectly. Because all states are sovereign. They are little governments within themselves. Mm-hmm. That the federal government cannot come in and simply just tell everybody how to run their states. They are sovereign states. Mm-hmm. But the same thing is happening with families. A God-ordained little sovereign unit. Yeah. The federal government wants to come in and destroy the family through what the government is doing through initiatives and through government partnering with social engineers to destroy what God has done. The state wants in, So the family is no longer sovereign. The state wants your kid. Just like John MacArthur said. We ran it last week. Here's him saying it again.
The objective of Satan, the objective of demons, and consequently the objective of all who are the subjects of Satan, the children of Satan as they're called in Scripture, is to destroy everything that God has made. They are the enemies of God and Christ and the truth of Scripture and the gospel. The objective is not simply to redefine gender. The objective is not simply to redefine marriage. The objective is to destroy what God has designed. Families provide a small, sovereign unit that acts as a small barrier against the corruption that seeks to dominate. Shatter the family, destroy the family, and the small sovereign barrier is disintegrated. And by the way, the goal in all of this, you need to be reading to see this, the goal in all of this is not homosexual same-sex marriage. The goal is the total elimination of all marriage, which then means that you don't possess any privacy. You don't have that small sovereign unit, and your children are not yours. They're public children, and they belong to the education system, and they belong to the country, and they belong to the village, but not to you. And so when they're 15 in the state of Oregon, they can have a sex change without telling their parents, and the state will do it and pay for it. This is not about same-sex marriage. This is about the total obliteration of the family.
This is why government is cracking down so hard on homeschooling in different parts of the country. You see, we're going to make this case later, but the male figure is the head of the home. Government wants to dictate the direction of your children. So they're replacing, through the government and social engineering, the role of the father, because the state wants to be your daddy.
Yes.
That is what's taking place. The state wants your kids because it is being used by Satan, who wants to destroy the family, because the family represents a picture of God.
Yeah, it would be a mistake to just leave this as a political thing. I think that's too shallow. It's deeply spiritual. The family is the image of God. The scripture says man represents Christ, the wife represents the church, and their mission as a family is to multiply God's image.
Exactly. I like how you said that. That's really good. So let's talk about the family and the plot being made against it. I like what John Piper had to say about some of the roles. He said this: do fathers and mothers have different roles in parenting? It's interesting in Ephesians 6, Paul says, children, obey your parents, not just your dad. And then it gets to fathers and says, fathers, bring your children up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. So I think that there is a both and an and in the Bible. Both mom and dad are responsible to give commandments and give teachings. The book of Proverbs talks about the teaching of a mother as well as of that of a father. So a parental team confronts this child with the will of God and with godliness. But what's trying to be stripped away is this: fathers bear a unique responsibility. Fathers are given a unique responsibility in the marriage to lead, to protect, and to provide for a wife.
Yes.
Those three things. And the children are watching this, and they know that dad is given a very special role in that. So understand this. A man is to, and this is a very simplified version, but a man is to lead, is to protect, and to provide for a family. And a mother is to teach her children to love them, nurture them, and to care for the family.
Yeah, scripture says, let us make them in our image, man and woman. God specifically created men and women as two different genders for a purpose. And he made us to understand what that purpose is and to abide by that construct and that institution of family.
And it's the world that has said that one role is better than the other. The roles are working together.
Yes.
It is a team.
Yes.
It is the world that has said, well, the man's role is better Well, that's because they're trying to usurp the role of the man.
Yeah.